Melanie found a love for vintage furniture and decor early on in life, and she went from finding furniture in the trash and selling it in yard sales all the way up to running multiple vintage booths. What? I was not expecting you to say that much.
Yeah.
To now running her own storefront. So let's find out how she did it. How did you get started with this business? When did you start getting into vintage and reselling vintage?
So I've always had a love for home. When I was, 4, my dad took me to Savannah, and we stopped in Savannah because he wanted to go to some antique stores. And then he told me I needed a hobby. So as he was talking to the cashier, I was looking through stuff, and inside a suitcase, I found a ring of skeleton keys, and my mind just exploded with, what did these go to? Was it a diary? Was it someone locked up somewhere that I could help? You know, the imagination of kids. But before we actually had home decor stores, we had home interior parties. So it's kind of like Pampered Chef, but it's for home decor.
Yeah.
And my mom always drug me to those. So it's always been kind of in me. And then when my husband and I started dating, he kind of noticed I always wanted to go in thrift stores. I always going to antique stores. I just love furniture. I love home decor. I love vintage and old, and obviously some new, obviously. And,
yeah.
And he said, why don't you open up just a small booth at a local antique shop? And I had literally a bookshelf. That's all it was, because that's all I could afford.
That's what I need to get.
Yeah, it was $45 a month. And even then, because I was...
Do you think it would still be $45 a month?
Probably not, but I'm sure it wouldn't be that much more. And I just started selling smalls. And then it kind of grew from there, because we used to have Antique Row.
So let's stop and explain what smalls are, because
yes,
I think No, that's okay. It was something I had to learn when I got into the vintage business. I'm going to let you define what smalls are.
Smalls are anything like home decor that you would use to accent furniture and things like that. So canister sets, candlesticks. I'm looking around.
What about like artwork and mirrors?
Absolutely.
Is that like medium or small?
No,
mediums isn't a thing.
They're still considered smalls.
Still smalls. Okay.
Anything basically outside the furniture.
Okay. Perfect.
And I started getting booths in these other antique places.
So you had more than one booth at this point.
But all the stores are in a row, so it's really convenient.
That's here in Jacksonville?
It was.
It was. I love when an antique mall is like store after store, because you can just hop and it becomes an event.
Yeah.
That's how the one was in South Carolina. And I would love to bring that here.
Wouldn't that be great?
Do you think that there's anywhere in Clay County that would be a good fit for something like that?
Yes, I do.
Oh, she's scheming. We're going to get to that.
I have my personal opinions about city council and how it doesn't promote small business completely. My husband has been telling me for a long time, you need to go in there and break up that good old boy club. But it's small business, especially because I'm in a shopping center, and it's hard when you're in commercial real estate, because if you look in most commercial shopping centers, you are going to see corporate.
Yeah.
You hardly ever see small business.
Even this one. I mean, there's a Dollar General right there.
Yeah, Dollar General, Pizza Hut. I mean, just big. And because a lot of our, at least in Florida, a lot of our commercial is triple net. And now I get why small businesses, mom and pop restaurants struggle.
Yeah.
Because of those triple net leases.
So what is a triple net lease?
So with the triple net lease, you also pay something called CAM. Basically, it's commercial maintenance. That's on top of your rent. Basically, they cover nothing. So like if the AC goes out, that's on me. Plumbing goes out. But like plumbing, the balances, everything is on me. If they decide to paint the exterior, which they need to. They basically divide it up based on your square footage, and you pay that bill. You pay their insurance, you pay their taxes, you pay everything.
But that in turn has made your rent lower, right?
No. On average, in Clay County, our square footage is, I think, anywhere from about 20 to 25 per square foot. You go across the pond or St. Johns River, and you are looking at 40 to 60. So you're looking at some small places, some mom and pops paying $10,000, $15,000 a month.
That's why I'm at a storage unit right now.
Yeah. I mean, it can get big, and then people want first and last.
Yeah.
And like I said, CAM is on top of that. So, for example, here, I'm technically in a pop-up lease. And so I have an extension till the end of, and then I have to decide whether I'm going to sign a 5-year lease or not. But
That's a commitment.
it is. That's a huge commitment. When we don't know what the economy is going to do. And this isn't privately owned, it's corporate owned. And so that also makes a difference of whether they care or not. Like, how can you not care about the small business?
So there was a point when you had multiple booths.
Yes.
How many did you have? Like, what was the
Gosh.
biggest?
I think I had Southern Crossing, Treasure House, The Looking Glass. At one point I had 4.
She had four vintage
4.
booths at one time,
Yeah.
and I couldn't manage one.
I really did start off with smalls because it was the easiest thing for me to do. I was making
Rent was
$10 an
cheaper.
hour.
Yeah.
It was cheaper, but I lived on my own. I had my own apartment, so I mean, I couldn't even afford internet or cable.
And the great thing about the smalls, though, is you find it at the thrift store, you clean it,
Yes.
and for the most part, you clean it and you sell it as it is.
Right.
Maybe you'll polish some metals here and there, but
A lot of people like
not
them,
me.
but,
Yeah,
you know,
I just sell brass. I take it as it is.
Yeah, and personally, because that's how I like my metals.
Yes.
I like them patinaed, and obviously I'll get the dirt off, but
It gives people the option too. If you
Exactly.
want to go home and polish it, you can.
Great.
But
you could walk in to Goodwill, wherever, and it's like Christmas. You know,
Yes.
like all the things
rarely,
are there.
but sometimes it happens.
And then next time you come in and there's nothing.
Nothing. I feel like especially now it's gotten a lot harder
Yes.
with the internet, and I will say that vintage is a trend right
It
now.
is. It really
I
is.
love vintage.
Yes.
You've always loved vintage.
Loved it.
You're ahead of the curve because I'm telling you that vintage is a trend right now, and I'm just going to go ahead and say the prediction that in like 10 years or something, people are going to be like, remember when we used to like old stuff?
Yeah, I'll always have it. I will always look for it. And that's the thing about my style is it's just me. So when, like I said, my husband actually is the one who, when we were dating, that really made me pursue this, because I was working with people with disabilities. I was a coach, and Adam actually asked me, what is your dream? What do you want to do? And I was like,
I never thought about
no
it.
one ever has asked me that. I'm like, I have to think about that for a minute. And he says, I see you have a natural talent with organizing and decorating, all this stuff. And that's when he encouraged me. I'll even pay for it if you can't pay for my bookshelf. And then it grew and grew and grew. So obviously he saw that in me. And then, because I was kind of taught, you get a job somewhere. It doesn't matter if you like it or not.
Oh, I could go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, you just get a job for the benefits, for the retirement, and you stick it out for all these years. Then you retire, and then you get to live. And I'm like, and
do what you love.
Yeah, and Adam was like, yeah, no, what? Everyone has a purpose. Everyone has a calling. What is yours?
Yeah, but it's when it's something that you love, it's like somehow your hobby and your passions get merged with your business.
But yeah, I had 4 booths, and I actually had to take a break from this industry because I was diagnosed with a pituitary brain tumor.
Oh my gosh.
And so everything kind of went on hold until we navigated that. It's fine. It's just sitting there. It's not doing nothing.
Okay,
So, and then of course, like when we got married, financials and stuff, like I said, still working with people with disabilities. And Adam, I kept collecting stuff. because I can't help it.
Yeah.
It's always in me.
No, I know.
To always go into these places. And he's, okay, we need to turn this into a business.
One issue that I had was, so I started out with furniture,
Mm-hmm.
and then I joined the vintage store that Melanie was also
Yeah.
at. So I started collecting the vintage items, and like every time I'd go in the thrift store looking for furniture, I would start buying the smalls.
Smalls pay the rent.
I'm not, yeah, but I'm not at a vintage store anymore, but
Yeah.
I'm still buying the smalls. What am I doing with them? They're collecting dust in my storage unit.
It's an addiction.
It becomes
really
an addiction.
It is. It's
You-
an absolute
She told
addiction.
me you have, what, like a shed at your house full of stuff? 2 sheds?
One is 10 by 24 by 14 feet, and the other one is 10 by 28 by 14 feet.
Oh my gosh.
And then Abby might want to get a shot back there because
Yeah, we'll check out the back room.
it's nuts. I love smalls. I love furniture. I love home. Home should be a place when you walk in, you feel at peace, you feel comfortable. I tell people I want to walk in and see all my little treasures that I love that spark joy. And I know every story. I can tell you where I bought it.
Where
I
you-
can tell
where
you
it came
how much I spent because I'm one of those. I'm like,
Me
oh, I
too.
spent $2. You know,
Oh, I love that jacket. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I got it in the thrift store.
exactly.
So you had four booths, and I think when I met you, you just had the one, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what made you decide to scale down to one space?
With the health issues and stuff, I just ended up selling kind of on Marketplace. That's when it was still new and not difficult. So I just sold out of my home or did have like yard sales and stuff like that. And then
Hold up, you did yard sales with
Yeah.
your vintage stuff?
Oh yeah.
Would you would you post it on Facebook, or you just put
Well,
signs out?
at the time we lived in the historic part of Ortega. So all I had to do was put out signs, or I saw my neighbors were going to have a yard sale. I'm like, well, I'm gonna put up too. Why not? And so
Did people expect really cheap prices though?
yes and no. I think when they saw what it was, a lot of people didn't try to talk me down too much.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting, because I think I have a neighbor that does that.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, it's like these young teenagers, I swear.
Yeah.
And they have a yard sale every other weekend. I'm like, are you guys moving? Why do you have so much stuff? And I'm starting to get the hunch that they are like thrifting this stuff and doing yard sales, which
Yeah.
is really smart, because
Yeah.
you can sell a lot at once. The issue I have with the storage unit is I don't want to go and meet somebody for $20. You know what I mean? I'm going out of my way to drive to the storage unit.
And you also don't know them.
Yeah, it becomes a whole sketchy thing. So that's the issue with selling smalls on Facebook Marketplace, unless you're doing porch pickup and then you're trusting somebody to leave the money. So now you had one, so you scaled down to one booth.
Yeah.
And you were also doing vintage markets at this time. You've always done that.
When I didn't have any booths, Adam was, like I said, he is my biggest cheerleader. That is one thing I do have. I have a huge support system. So whether it's my niece who works with me at the market, my mom wraps whatever people buy, and my sister helps people get stuff off and then restages while I work the register. So I do have a support system. And then delightfully, Melanie is very much, my husband is very much his company. He's just the silent partner. But I said, we went to vintage market days one day, and I said, I think I want to do this market. And he goes, go for it. Well, I've never done markets before. And I'm kind of a dive into the deep end type person. I had no clue what I was doing. I was scared to death. But literally, I applied. I got accepted. And I was like, what? Oh my God.
To vintage market days?
Yeah.
This is like the biggest one in Jackson.
Yes. And it's an upscale type of market. And I had so much stuff that we actually had to store it in my his extra bedroom. I had it filled with all my stuff. And we made a couple trips to pick up all my stuff. But yeah, I just went off the deep end and just dove straight in. No clue what I was doing. And of course, scared and excited. But when we started setting up, well, it was like, this is so awesome. But then you see everyone else setting up that's been doing it for years. And you're like, I'm not worthy. I'm going to look terrible.
Were you at all discouraged about the amount of work it is? Because
Not at all.
Oh,
No.
I think about markets and I'm like, that sounds so much fun.
Yeah.
But then I think about moving all this furniture out and setting it up and staging it for a 2-3 day event.
3 days, yeah.
Would you say that all that labor, it's a lot of labor, is worth the payout?
It's very worth it.
Very worth it.
It's very worth it.
Both financially and just
Yeah.
branching out and finding new customers.
Exactly, because when I first started, I didn't have a store. I wasn't in a store at all. So I would give people my cell phone and say, text me if you're looking for something specific, but otherwise I just post on Marketplace or social media. I had that where I posted furniture and people could follow.
So if you were somebody who just sold on Facebook Marketplace right now, or maybe had a storage unit, you're a collector, would you encourage somebody to do a market before opening a booth, or just go open a booth? Or
I mean, my thing is, it's completely up to you what you want to do. I do love booths, and what I love about that is if you're not willing or you're not that type of person that wants to just dive in, I think you should get a booth, because at least the contracts are usually, some don't have contracts, some are month to month, but then you have ones that are like 3 months, 6 months, and a year, and it's not so much of a commitment. And if you have communication with the owner and you're going, I need to go bigger or I need to scale down, usually they can accommodate.
so you can kind of adjust according to what you have time for and what you have money for, and kind of feel out how much money you're making in the booth.
Exactly.
So do you have any just off the top main tips for somebody who would want to get a vintage booth? What would you look for in a store starting out? Say you're somebody who flips furniture. You flip furniture mostly, but you also like some vintage items.
Yeah. I would make sure you walk around the store, look at the other booths. Are they styled, or can you tell that they've been sitting like that for a while? Because also, it is kind of the owner's job to promote the business and to bring people in. And different owners have different ways of doing that, and that's okay. But make sure it's something that you're okay with and that you're aligned
on. So make sure it fits your style.
Yes, very much so. But you'll get some that are, when you walk in, it does feel maybe lower end, maybe more like it's just a thrift store, like they don't clean their items, they're not staging them, they're just all flat on a table like a garage sale. That brings a certain perception.
And it brings a certain customer.
Yeah.
Like I've noticed, I walk into some antique malls and it is like straight antique, primitive.
Yeah.
Everything in there is vintage. And then you'll go into other malls and it's like a mix of both, or maybe a lot of painted furniture. There's some stores that are like, like there's one in South Carolina called the Ivy House. That place is insane. If you're ever up in Lexington,
I actually have a lot of family there.
you need to go. They actually have 2 places now, and it is like booths on booths of what we do. It's lots of painted furniture. So I would consider the type of store it is. If it's like primitive antique mall and you're a furniture flipper, you might not even be able to get around in there to move furniture.
I think that's the biggest thing. And making sure that the owner is, when you are moving stuff in and out, like that they have it, not acceptable hours, but because like sometimes people work full time, they can only come later, and just to accommodate that, because some are sticklers and some are more
more
understanding.
flexible.
Yeah.
So now I want to talk about your storefront more. What made you want to decide to leave the booth and open up your own store?
Well, having my own storefront has always been something I've wanted. And as well as Adam and I have some very big dreams, but this is the first step. And this opportunity came to us, and we just jumped at it. Because originally, my neighbor, Jess, who owns Anamoya, came to me and she's like, hey, I'm thinking about taking this space next door to me and just doing vendors, and would you be interested? Yeah, why not? It's right here. I live 3 minutes away. And well, everyone else kind of backed out, and she's like, well, you'd be the only vendor, so would you like a shot at basically running your own shop? And I was like, let's go.
All the other potential vendors backed out?
Yeah, because they didn't want to have to. I think there was one vendor who wanted to take the whole space, but he didn't want the commitment of working like every weekend.
Yeah.
And so he kind of backed out, and
you got to have somebody here.
Yeah. So I came in, and we kind of worked out the details, because originally it was going to be her employees over here and that kind of stuff. And then,
but it's hard because there's a wall.
Right.
So
we just, it kind of just, as after we talked, I'm like, no, this will be my store and I'll put my stuff in it and
That is
let's
so
see how it goes.
exciting.
So that's what it kind of turned into. It just happened. I don't really have a...
When I asked my Instagram followers what questions should I ask Melanie, obviously what popped up the most was, what's the overhead? What are your expenses? And I want to know too how they compare to renting a vintage booth.
So like I said, I have a pop-up lease and I'm kind of tucked in this little alcove. And so Jess was able to negotiate with the original owners before it recently sold to a corporate. So she was able to negotiate because it is an alcove. It's hard to see over here. And so she was able to negotiate $6.50 per square foot.
That sounds really good.
That's really good. But like I said, it's a pop-up lease for the first 6 months. And then, of course, Jess is good at negotiating, so obviously no CAM. And so with this additional 6 months, my rent is at $7.50 a month. And then if I go to full term, she negotiated, I think, like $10.50. So it's still a lot. It's like half of what the average is. But it's because of she did it with the original owner, and also I'm so tucked away. So you have that. If I was in a normal contract, you would have CAM. So I have 1,000 square feet. That CAM would probably be around $300 a month on top of my rent.
Okay, so you'd be looking at $1,300 a month,
roughly, yeah.
You said this is 1,000 square feet.
This is 1,000
This
square
is
feet.
a good sized store.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, yeah, because I have a good 200 square feet back there. So this is
too.
about 8.
Okay, so 1,000 square feet, that would be equivalent to an average booth size is what, like 10 by 10?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
So that's what, 100 square feet. So this
Yeah.
is you're looking at more than 10 booths.
Yeah,
Which would cost a lot of money.
A lot of money. And then, like I said, utilities. Utilities run me around $200 a month. Obviously, during summer, it's going to go up a bit. But you slap commercial on anything, and the electric company, everyone raises it.
Yeah, because they assume, they're making money. So
yeah, exactly.
We gotta make money too.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you say wedding or funeral, everything gets priced, which is terrible.
Yeah.
But so now granted, I didn't have to pay utilities and stuff at my booth, but my rent was still over $700, and I had that room.
For how big was that room?
Not sure. I don't remember.
I want to say it was probably like 10 by 15.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, probably 10 by 15.
Yeah, it was like the front of my store, so maybe like 200 square feet, 2 to 300 square feet.
Yeah, so you had 20% of the space paying almost the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, but the other thing is, obviously, with a booth, you have somebody there working.
Yes. Yeah,
You don't have to be there.
Right.
So that's another topic of conversation is you hire your niece, right, to work here. Mm-hmm. So about how many hours a week does she cover the store, and how many hours do you cover the store?
A lot of times we're here together, and so she's usually here full time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm only open from 11:30 to 5:30, so it's not like I have a full 8-hour type days, but she's here.
That's interesting. So it's kind of not just a cashier job, right?
Yeah.
Because she's actually excited about this business too, and wants to help paint furniture. She's addicted, like we are.
Also, because she helped me open the store.
How old is she?
She's 19.
19.
Yeah. So I'll put my shoe back on.
I'm going to take mine off. I don't want to get this nice couch all dirty with my shoes.
So she helped me get furniture ready, just all the little things to open the store. There's a lot of million little things that you don't realize. And then I think she realized she likes working with her hands. So she started learning how to paint, sanding, really getting into it. And now she has a couple pieces in here.
Can I hire her?
Yeah. If I'm here and she has a piece that needs to be sanded,
you do it in the back there?
Yeah.
Oh, you do it like behind the building?
Yeah, we just, she'll sand back there, or we can paint back there when I have space.
Do people in that also work in this plaza see you guys out there?
Oh, yeah. We have a healthy homeless community in this area. And they'll stop by and watch her.
Say hi.
But otherwise, no one really bothers us. Like, because we do have teen thrift right there. People drive around here to donate and stuff, and so we'll have people.
What are you guys doing?
Yeah, slow by. You drive by really slow and watch.
It probably makes them curious too to want to come around to the front of the store.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What is that lady doing?
I've had people lean out their windows going, "Is that for sale?" It will be. It's in the store.
You can claim dibs if you want.
Exactly.
You want to pick out the
you
paint color?
want to prepay? That's fine with me.
Do you ever do customs? Do you ever have people ask you for customs?
I don't, and I actually don't do custom work for people.
I don't either.
I just
I don't like it.
I don't. Yeah, I don't enjoy it. It actually makes it more stressful. A lot more stressful.
It's just another moving factor because now you're working with somebody, and it's also more stressful because they're not seeing the end result, right?
Right.
Like when you walk in here, I can come and look at this dresser that you painted, and I see it with my eyes and decide if I want to purchase it or not.
Yeah.
But when you're hiring somebody for commission work, you're not sure if your work is going to meet their standards, which I know that we're very anal with our work.
Yeah.
But some people are just hard to please.
They really are. And I've heard horror stories from friends who have do custom work, and I'm just like, I don't know if I want that added stressor. And then there's people that have stronger personalities than me that can handle it.
I think that's what it comes down to too, is like your personality, because I'm just not the type of person who likes to talk on the phone, and when I have a customer that wants to ramble for an hour, I'm like, please, I gotta go.
It happens.
I just like to be in the garage sanding by myself with my noise canceling headphones. Nobody talk to me.
So I try to source local as much as possible to support other small businesses. And so that's why that front part is Mercantile, because my heart is also there to support small businesses.
I love that.
And they might not all be furniture and home decor. And so I do everything wholesale. We are cash funding all this. We don't use credit cards. We're not using that. So my growth is not as, I'm like, I want this. If anyone wants to donate 10 grand, let me know. I could use it. But we cash flow everything. And so, but I love that I can support other small businesses.
Yeah.
So like Linda Mann with her soaps. Skin Kissed is also in Jacksonville, and I have her soaps. And then Wood Angels, the candles. That's actually a lotion candle, by the way. Oh. That's what sold me.
Oh, I think I've heard of those. So as it melts, you can use it? Or?
Yeah, when I sell them, I give a little spoon, and you can, my niece loves it. and because it's not overly hot. And it's a clean burn, and she just, so if you feel like smelling like peppermint. But so the more north you go, you get like these more country stores, these Mercantiles, these general stores. We don't have a lot of that here in Florida. And that's what I kind of want to create.
Yeah. I would love that. I'm always like wishing that there were more mom and pop antique stores and just small stores around here. I feel like it's good for gift shopping too, to get more unique. And sometimes you need to go and running a last minute gift that's not from Amazon.
Yeah, well, because it's kind of fun, because right now I know it's the trend to, like, I even think Kay Scott does it on hers, of something she thrifted. She puts together these baskets. And so I try to offer things that, okay, you found some awesome candlesticks, and I have like honey soda and other things that you're not going to find anywhere else. I think that shows thought and love. So
I think that's great that you're supporting small businesses. And
oh yeah,
is all the stuff that's retail in here, is it small businesses?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Are the margins good on that? So it's like
the most.
Is it what, usually 50% or?
I think my lowest margin is 36%. Usually it's around 50% depending. And then you have some that are a little smaller, but because I have such good margins on everything else, if I see a product and my margins are really low, I'm willing to do that because I want to offer it.
Because everything else in the store is low margins. That's a good leeway into the next question I have for you is about like sourcing and selling. And as far as sourcing your items, smalls and furniture, where do you find it?
Okay, everywhere. So when I first started, because I didn't have a lot of money, Adam and I would drive around Ortega and pick out furniture on trash day. and because it was free. And so that's what we would do, and pick up furniture. But also because he owns a lawn service, and he has a very, not isolated, but like a certain area that he concentrates all his business in. And so he'll send me pictures and goes, I got a present for you.
Oh, I love that.
And so beautiful pieces of furniture that people are just throwing out. And I don't understand why, but to each their own.
They have money. It's too annoying.
I don't want, it's so heavy. I don't want to deal with it.
It's in their way.
Yeah. So he'll load it up into his enclosed trailer and bring it out. So that's how I started. And now we still do that, but just because it's just fun and nothing like
trash picking,
trash night, date night. But I do go to yard sales. I do look on Marketplace. I don't go to estate sales a whole lot because usually that's really high.
Yeah, unless you go on the last day,
exactly.
like the last hour.
Yeah, because well, especially here in Florida, the prices at the thrift stores and stuff are
They're getting
crazy.
High. Yeah.
It's
all over the place. Sometimes
really
it's a good price and sometimes it's not.
But I like to source low. Also, the whole reason I use the paint that I do, also because I can still make my furniture affordable for the everyday person.
That's something I've been struggling with, is like finding that balance, because I found that when my furniture prices were lower, like they would go out the door, and I've increased my prices because you know how much labor it is.
Yeah,
girl, it's a lot of labor, but it's so hard to find that balance of getting it to sell, and I want my customers to feel like they got a good deal.
Exactly.
I like getting a good deal, and I want them to feel like they got a good deal, but at the same time, I don't want us to be cutting ourselves short.
No, and that's hard in this industry, because a lot of times your labor gets discounted.
It does, especially in furniture, because I honestly think that the low market, like on Facebook Marketplace and stuff, has made people think that you're overcharging if you're charging like $30 an hour of your labor.
Right, yeah.
But you're not.
No. And there goes a lot into it. I mean,
knowledge too.
Yes.
Like, you can't just pick up paint off a shelf, and I mean you can, but you know how it's going to look.
There's going to be a big learning curve.
Yeah.
If you do it that way.
And so pricing, it's difficult.
It's so difficult. And I also try to think of, would I pay this for this piece?
Yeah. So when you're looking for furniture and small items to resell, what profit margins are you looking for? Like, how much are you willing to spend on a dresser? Or how much are you willing to spend on a lamp?
Okay, I'm cheap.
Me too.
I think the most I've ever spent on a piece of furniture was $150. That's the most I've ever spent on one piece.
I think me too. Yeah. Like that's what I actually call my cap, 150.
Yep.
And when I say 150, that's like for a nice buffet.
Yeah.
Or like a 9-drawer dresser.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not something small at all. I think last one I paid $150 for it. It didn't need to be painted, but it was a European piece. She needed to be cleaned up and a few things fixed on her, and I ended up selling her for, I think, $1,500.
Wow,
but
great.
So different and unique. My profit margins are never that good. I mean, that's like a 4-leaf clover leprechaun piece. You know?
Yeah, so it's usually I'll walk around and show some of like how you have your furniture priced in here, just for people who are curious. But I mean, everything in here, not everything, but a lot of this is new stuff. Yeah. Like, so she's turning over furniture at a good rate. But as far as like refinishing, how do you determine, are you going to just polish this and throw it in there, or are you going to paint it?
If it's first of all, if it's a pretty wood. So if it's like a honey oak of the 90s, it's going to be painted.
Yeah.
Or restained something else. Even some mahogany is not pretty.
Desirable.
Right? Even though that wood is beautiful, but on that particular piece of furniture,
sometimes it doesn't
suit
go
it at all.
And it's not contemporary with what people want.
Right. And of course, the orange pine.
Yeah.
So that's a whole vibe in itself.
Yeah.
So, but the waterfall piece, those inlays are beautiful.
Is that refinished or just polished?
Just polished.
That is in excellent condition.
Excellent condition. And obviously, I'm not, now if the veneer was destroyed, I have not ventured into veneer yet.
Especially with like complicated inlay designs like that. That's a whole nother ballpark.
Yeah. So if it was trashed, that's one thing. Like this piece right back here, this white one, she had so much damage to her, and then also it obviously used to be in a smoker's house. So
Yeah, so
cleaning the nicotine off of it, trying to fill in where we could.
And then the primer also is what's going to seal in all that gunk.
Exactly. And so she's perfectly imperfect, but she obviously had to be painted.
So basically you determine off the condition and how pretty the wood is or not.
Yeah, exactly. This one behind me, she has a lot of red undertones, but with the whole piece being red, I was like, I want to paint her, but keep the inside more raw, because it is still beautiful wood, but as a whole piece, all that color, it was a bit much.
Especially because being a China hutch and the dark red mahogany, it was just a recipe to not sell, right?
Exactly.
So you have to do something to
and that's why it wasn't.
And,
I mean, it was sitting in I've been watching it at the thrift store, just watching it, and it just sat and sat. Because I have to realize not everyone's creative.
Yeah.
And that's why I curate everything. I had a customer come in and she goes, I'm not a creative, but I love these pieces. And she goes, I bought a piece. She goes, where would I put that? And it's kind of like a small china cabinet thing. And I said, well, if you have a big enough bathroom, you could put it in there to hold towels, toiletries. Or if you have a guest bedroom, it can hold extra pillows and blankets. And she's, oh my gosh, okay. And so she bought the china cabinet she really wanted and a reading chair. And she's, no, I appreciate that. I'm not creative. I need places like this to show me.
Yeah, you have to give people ideas.
Right.
Which is why it's so great that everything is staged in here. When you're selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace even, it helps that it's in a cohesive, decorated environment.
Right.
Some people can't imagine a beautiful dresser, no matter how beautiful, it's taken a picture of in your garage. Some people cannot envision what it's going to look like in their home.
Exactly. And well, I also love with furniture, like this dresser. It doesn't have to be used as a dresser. You can put a TV stand, you can hang a TV above it. Some people use them as buffets when they're bigger dressers. There are no rules anymore to decorating, which is kind of nice.
What are some of your best-selling items? What do you look for?
Oh gosh, deviled egg platters.
What?
Yeah, not kidding.
That was the last thing I expected you to say just now.
It's the truth. The vintage deviled egg platters, first of all, they're getting harder to find. But every time I take them to market, or I have people walk in, do you have any deviled egg platters? I'm like, the only one I have left is the Linux one back there, and it only holds 6 eggs.
I'm going to be looking for some deviled egg platters. What do they sell for?
I sell them anywhere from, depending on size and who makes them, whether they're Avon, Linux, whatever, $12 to $18, because I usually can get them pretty.
$1 probably.
$1.99 most.
People pricing them are like me. It's an egg platter. Who the heck wants this?
Those sell like crazy.
Everyone.
My vintage cake plates, like with the domes.
Yeah.
Not so much in the store, but at market, I usually always sell out. Just because I think people love that heavy glass, or it's nostalgic. As shopping is always, there's a psychology to selling and doing all this. So a lot of people are like, oh, my grandmother had this, or my mom had this and she passed. And so if you have a lot of emotional buying with that, and so those sell really well.
It seems like things that, at least what I've noticed, is things that have a function seem to sell better, because I would be drawn to some things just like vessels and knickknacks and stuff, and they're great, but I feel like it sells better if they have a direct, obvious function. Like maybe not just a trinket dish, but maybe it's a canister, or it holds eggs, or it's something that people can automatically think of what they're going to use it for, rather than collecting dust on a shelf.
And like you did a collaboration with the vessels being filled with candles and stuff, and that's
a lot of those things
awesome.
Didn't have a great purpose besides maybe a planter. A lot of them are planters, or I feel like candy dishes even aren't that popular anymore for people to have them.
No.
That's a very old, I like them. I think they're super
use them
cute.
all the time. I will put little packets of fruit snacks. I will use
But we
put
just
anything in
like
there.
cute things.
And also, I had a lot of china plates, so I started making the 3-tiered things like
Oh,
that.
cute. You made that?
Mhm.
That's cute.
So me and Caroline have started making that with a lot of my china for years. I've had that they're not
Nobody
selling.
buys the china.
Right.
The thrift stores are
Yeah.
full of china.
Like if you can see that one back there.
That is so cute. You can put fruit on it. Yeah.
Whatever. And my thing is also some people need inspiration, but I have a lot of appetizer plates. People are like, what do you do with these? I always encourage people, use the china, use the crystal.
Just not have it sitting in a
Right.
shelf.
Because I don't care if I'm drinking milk out of it. If I feel like drinking out of a crystal glass, that's
I
what
love
I'm gonna
that.
do.
You are so bougie.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to start doing that.
I don't care what it is, just use it.
Use it.
You can buy another couch. You can buy these other things, but you can't replace your experience and memories that you spend with your family. So just use it.
Think about how old this couch
yeah.
is and how long it's lasted,
Yeah.
and it's still in great condition.
Someone definitely have it covered in plastic.
Yeah.
But what's unfortunate is, and this is obviously in theory, let's say an older woman owned this, she covered it in plastic, didn't really let her family sit on it. What a waste.
I know.
Instead of sitting on it, using it.
Because lucky for this couch, there's people like Melanie that
Yeah.
exist, but there aren't enough Melanies for the amount of couches there are.
And if I knew how to reupholster, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you're right. So just use it.
Just use it.
I really love that. Smalls that have a function are great.
Yes.
What about furniture? What type of furniture do you look for that sells the best?
For the past few years, actually, my raw antique china cabinets sell all the time at market.
When you say raw, like just natural
It's wood, yeah. And I just
Any specific style of them? China cabinets like this?
yeah, but they're actually antiques.
Are they like the wide ones or like the skinny hutches?
No, the wider ones that usually have a rounded top. Some are squared off, but they have the chunky little legs, and they're just so beautiful.
Yeah.
A lot of times I can do
like
those.
the Jacobean style?
Yes, yeah. And a lot of times I just use the Kramers and just polish her up really well, and then you just stage it. And in those pieces, I put crystal because that's what shine, or white pieces, so white canisters or
highlights
whatever.
it.
But usually how I'm positioned at the market, which I know she does for me, which I'm so thankful. Thank you, Tanya. The sun hits my booth just perfectly, so all my crystal in the morning just
It just shines.
yeah. It's so hard to predict what people are going to want.
Yeah, it is.
And so people go, oh, I want what the customer wants. Like owners will say that. I'm like, I don't know what they want.
We don't know what I don't know what the customers. I know long dressers sell well,
Yeah.
like better than chests usually,
Yeah.
or buffets and sideboards do great.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's like throwing spaghetti at the wall.
It really is. My way of thinking personally is if I'll put it in my house, I'll buy it to sell it. That's because at the end of the day, I have to stay true to my brand. And
People are coming into this store because they like your style.
Right.
So if you ask yourself, would I put this in my house?
Yeah. I've turned down a lot of pieces because of it.
Because honestly, I think I can look back on furniture that I flipped and can say, no, I would not put that in my house. And
Yeah.
that's the furniture that didn't sell.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to ask yourself that. I like that.
Yeah. Also, if I don't love the piece or have a vision for the piece, I will tend to put it off and do other things and hyper focus over here.
Me too.
Because I'm not in love with that piece.
Or I'll be going and finding a new piece to work on because
Yeah.
I don't have a vision for it.
Exactly.
At that point, you should just sell it as is.
Yeah, exactly. And I've done that many times because also people give me stuff and it's a lot of time, 99% of the time, it's great. But sometimes I'm like, it's not really me. But now that I have Caroline, she loves, because I was like, hey, do you want to work on this? Because she's still learning technique and her style and all that stuff.
So those are your best-selling items. Okay, this is something you are an expert in, and I want to see if you have any tips for us. On your Facebook, it says, because presentation is everything.
Yes.
I love that. Melanie was nominated as Best of Clay in like 6 categories, and she's only been open for 5 months. That's incredible. How do you go about staging your items? Because just walking around here, you are very good at staging things and arranging things, and that's something that I struggle with a lot.
I have a love for home. And so my biggest thing is I want it to feel homey. Plus, there's the psychology side of me that loves it. So I try to stick with color theory because the brain is instantly attracted to certain things. So when I'm staging, you will always find my stuff in odd numbers, 3,
Threes.
5, things like that. I usually don't go beyond that. Also, I don't know why, but the brain loves it. It automatically brings it in. When you have certain colors together, like at the market, you will literally see my shelves. It'll start with red and it'll just fade into all the other colors, almost like a rainbow. And I think people enjoy that organization.
You try to group light colors together.
Yeah. So literally it'll be all red and then it'll actually fade into pink and then it'll fade into orange and then to yellows, to greens, to blues, to purples.
And that's what she's done with this space too, because how you were saying you tried to keep all the light stuff in this corner.
Yeah.
Light, bright.
Very cottagecore type.
Cottagecore. That's a good way to describe it. And then over here, she's got like the dark academia,
the
moodies.
yeah.
So it organizes everything in a sense. Each and every display is so carefully thought about. And it's such a struggle for me.
No, when I'm doing it, I don't have any process. It's just a creative process.
Right.
It comes natural, but like when I first got married and you have your first house that you get to decorate, every room was a different color. And then as I got older and your tastes change, and I tell people, it's okay to change. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to change your mind. It's okay. It's just furniture or it's just paint.
Trust me.
It's okay.
I get that from my mom too. She's rearranging the house
once
a month.
And so now the house I do use color and stuff, but it flows more because that's just where I'm at.
Do you try to pick a few colors and stick with them? Are there certain colors you're drawn to? There's definitely a lot of greens in here, yellow.
Yeah.
You like all the same colors as me.
Yeah, I naturally usually keep my pieces neutral. But as for decorating, my thing is I want when people come in, I want to trigger all 5 senses. And so what they smell when they come in, I want it to smell nice and homey. What they see. And so that's why you'll see a lot of plants and stuff here. You'll see a lot of lamplight. I love soft lighting.
Me too.
So you'll see a lot of lamps because I think those feels just make it feel just like home. And also what I play, what people listen to, is usually nostalgic. I tend to stay with, because I do have a little bit of a European vibe with my checkered floor, the blue-green walls.
I was going to ask you that. Like, what would you consider your style?
That's interesting because it's so collected.
People say eclectic.
Yeah, it's very eclectic. I would say it's like an eclectic cottage. That's usually...
Cottage is a good word.
Because I love academia. So right now, dark academia is huge. I love the moody tones. But I love decorating with books and different busts and things like that. I've always been within academia. But I think those touches of, like I said, with the plants and the lighting, mirrors, because mirrors reflect light. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's what makes it, I guess, homey. But otherwise, it's just a process. Because I will literally stage something and go, hate that. Literally last night, I was like, once a month, I redo the store.
She resets the whole store.
Yeah, I reset the whole store.
This is like very common practice. Vintage booths, stores, even Target and big stores do it. Mm-hmm. You don't want your customer to come in here every time and think
it's the same
this is all the same stuff.
Because they'll stop coming.
They'll stop coming because they're not interested. They've already seen it. Mm-hmm. And also it gives off the illusion that you're not selling stuff.
Exactly.
And it's that psychology that if other people aren't buying it, why would I?
Yeah. Exactly. So once a month I completely reset, and I'm talking about we take all the art off the walls, everything. Wow. So yesterday
you're starting from scratch essentially.
Yeah. Now, is it some of it obviously is the same stuffs, and then I'll bring in new inventory and sprinkle it in. But a lot of times people get so used to seeing it a certain way, and then they'll come in and go, oh, I didn't know you had this. I'm like, I've had it for 6 months.
Yep. I noticed that a lot in the booth. As soon as you move something off of one shelf that has been there for months, and you put it in maybe a more centralized location, all of a sudden it sells the next day. And you're like,
it's staged differently.
Yeah, you're like, I've had this for months, but people didn't notice it before because there's a lot to take in these spaces.
Oh, yeah. And that's my thing is I just try to make it like home. This literally, when you see the store, It's basically how my house is. It's an extension of my own home and my own style and stuff.
At your vintage markets, how do you set it up? Is it your vintage market pictures looked really pretty?
Yeah.
Do you set up some sort of like boundary or wall?
Yeah.
What is it? Like, what is it made out of?
With the market I'm at, you have to have walls. So
Okay.
whether they're actual walls or if it's just like mine is, I have.
How do you bring an actual wall to a market?
Oh,
they build them.
That literally people will.
Out of what?
You hear zzz, 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 and they're putting it together.
What do they use?
Doors.
Just
They'll use doors. They'll use crates. People are so
creative. What do you use?
So I have my tents, but I hang curtains. So actually the curtain you see right back there, I have a ton of them that go all the
So
way
you
around
have to get
me.
like rods or something?
No, I had a lady I got them from IKEA, just so you know, and they have a little loops. I had her cut them and then put Velcro around the tent. I just Velcro them around like that. Yeah.
Around your pop-up tent?
Yeah, my pop-up tents. Yeah. On the
you go.
framing, because I don't put the walls or the roof on it's just framing.
That's smart.
And then I put the curtains around, and then I have all my lighting that goes across, and then I have greenery that I add to it. And then I have shelves that line the whole back and the side, because at the market I actually don't do a ton of furniture. I actually do all smalls.
Oh, you don't bring furniture? Or
I
is it
bring a
mostly,
few pieces.
It's furniture to display your smalls.
Right.
If you don't mind me being nosy,
Go for it.
like how much does the vintage market cost and how much do you usually make?
Okay, so my first vintage market days, I was going to do a 10 by 10. In the last moment, I went, let's do a 10 by 20.
Send it!
Diving into the deep end again. So I pay for electricity. So with that, I pay around $585 for 3 days.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. And I know there's other places that are a lot cheaper, but it's an upscale.
Mm-hmm. And you have basically 2 spaces. So it would be half that if you wanted to be a first timer. And
Exactly.
Just do
And some people don't want electricity, but because I do bring in lamps, I pay. It's like $35.
Sets the vibe.
It does.
Sets the mood.
And then with my first one in 3 days, and granted this was a Christmas market about 3 or 4 years ago, I made $7,000.
What?
Yeah.
I was not expecting you to say that much.
Yeah. And that's funny because I was actually on the lower end. There's people that make way more than I do.
What? In 3 days?
Yeah. But because I do mostly smalls, that's a lot of smalls to get rid of.
Yeah.
But I sell my vintage baskets. I sell all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I'm signing up for a vintage market.
And there's people that do just straight furniture. Like
yeah.
There was one year, the weathered wheel, every day sold out of furniture, every day. So
they probably made a lot of money.
Yeah, because we have so many people moving to Florida, or I hear a lot, my house just got finished being built, now I have to fill it.
So it's worth all that work of setting it up for sure.
It is.
Because you just sold $7,000 worth of inventory. That's awesome. That's moving a lot of product in a few days. I was honestly expecting you to say 1,000. Even that, I would have been like, $1,000 in a weekend is a good amount of money.
Yeah.
But obviously, you had a lot of inventory there.
A lot. And I usually do. My husband and I actually switched enclosed trailers because I needed a bigger trailer. But it does pay off. So we will stage, and then actually when it shuts down and then we have a few hours till we have to get out, we reset. We bring stuff that's in the trailer that we couldn't fit, and me and my sister reset. So
this is like in between days at the market?
Yeah. So like we open Friday, and then we close at 4. The market ends at 4, and then you have till 8 o'clock, and we totally reset. Most vendors reset. So we're just filling in, moving stuff. Let's say a lot of my yellow items have sold, so we need to bring the green down a little bit and just to fill in. Like this last market, I had a beautiful antique china cabinet. Literally within 15 minutes, lady came in and said, I want that. But then I was running out to my trailer with a dolly, bringing in a new piece. Another cabinet I happen to have.
So you have backups in there.
I do.
Yeah, that's smart. So you're constantly keeping it full.
Yeah. But even if I had to pull from the store, I could send my mom with her SUV and say, hey, or send Adam to grab a piece and bring it out to me.
So to finish it off, I want to
Okay.
know, what are the big goals and plans
Oh,
for
wow.
the future?
Okay, they're pretty big. This is a stepping stone. My husband and I, obviously I don't believe in gatekeeping, but we,
One of the biggest terms I've been using lately is
yeah,
don't gatekeep.
no, I don't mind sharing my information, because if that helps someone else pursue their dreams, then by all means, because you can do it. You can. But we have some big goals in other businesses we would like to open.
Within this industry, or like different types of
They
businesses?
kind of, they're related, but like I'll put out there, we would actually like to open a restaurant. We have a lot of journaling about it and perfecting
That's
recipes
something
and
that's
stuff.
always, I don't cook, but
Yeah.
I love the experience of a
Yes.
restaurant mixed with a vintage shop. There's one, again, in South Carolina. It's like a cafe restaurant. You can come and eat lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, people shop the vintage mall like a Cracker Barrel while they're
Oh,
waiting
awesome.
to sit down and have their meal.
So like Avonlea.
Yeah, it's a great experience.
that's cool.
I haven't been there. I'll need to go.
Yeah, very good chicken salad.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to
And
go
I'm
there.
picky about it.
Would you want it to be attached to a vintage store or be its own thing?
Our dream is to actually have all our businesses in one area. Basically creating an experience. That's my biggest thing, that my husband helped me, because he asked me, would you want to do just online? I'm like, no.
It takes the fun out of it,
It
and the
does.
whole community aspect, because I know
Exactly.
that you like connecting with other people who
lot.
have the same interest.
Exactly. And also, I do enjoy creating experiences. When you walk in here, whether you see the honey or you can sit down back here and almost like it's your own little reading nook, I like to create experiences. So everything that all the businesses that we would have would be about experience of how it makes you feel, somewhere that you could just relax. I also have a love of books, so there is,
It could be like a little library, coffee shop,
oh yeah, love
restaurant,
it.
vintage
Yeah,
shop.
love it. Yeah.
Any other ideas? Massage chair.
Yeah. And because I do love home so much, we've played around with like bed and breakfast type or cottages or something like that.
People want to take photos of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's nothing worse than like an Airbnb and it's all, I'm such a snob. IKEA furniture and everything just feels, I don't know, like a hospital.
Right. And like I tell people, there's a time and place for everything. But these pieces, I love what the Europeans say, that they are caretakers, because the houses, the chateaus,
Oh my God, don't even bring up the word chateau with my mom in the room.
in the furniture, they're going to outlive us, right? They're going to be moved on to
Yeah.
another family, another generation that will love them and stuff like that. So I like that
It's a more lived in feeling.
exactly. And so I love that they consider it, I'm just the next caretaker. And I'm like, you're creating heirlooms.
I think everything in here is
Yeah.
an heirloom. It's solid wood furniture that has been around, that one for 100 years.
Yes.
And there's no reason it's not going to last another 100 years.
Exactly.
It could be painted 80 more times.
Yeah, exactly. It can. And it's just finding like I said, you're allowed to change. You're allowed to adapt. You're allowed to like, okay, I'm not into green anymore. I want hot pink. Then do hot pink.
And
I don't
that's
care.
the glory of refinishing furniture.
Yeah.
And people get so worked up about the paint colors we choose.
Yeah.
Look, it can be changed.
Yeah,
It's not that serious.
It is, and a lot of times it's an extension of ourselves. It is an art.
It's crazy just to think about how much my style has changed within the last year.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't owned my own home and gotten to decorate it yet. So I'm glad I'm getting to figure it out
Yeah.
beforehand. But I look back to my furniture a year ago and I could do like a whole video just roasting my old furniture. Because I don't like it anymore. It's
Yeah.
just not my style. I was just
Yeah.
doing what I saw other people do, what I thought might sell.
As your brain matures and stuff, this is literally a stepping stone. This is just the beginning, and I'm fine with that. I got plenty of years,
I'm
so
excited.
why not? So if I can encourage someone like my niece or someone else, go for it. I know you have to live. I know people have to work and provide. I get that. But you can do it on the side. You can find joy and purpose. Because
Yeah,
everyone,
there's plenty of time.
yes, everyone's created, I believe, on purpose, for a purpose. And so figure that out. I don't believe, like, some of us are meant to be creative and be entrepreneurs. I know not everyone's supposed to be an entrepreneur, but there's something that you're really good at, and I don't care if you make money off or not, but as long as it brings you joy, the world would
That's
be
awesome.
better, I think.
If everybody did something that they love.
Actually, I enjoyed. And I don't care if it's making birdhouses out of popsicle sticks. You do your thing and make it beautiful and put it out there. Why not?
Thank you so much, Melanie.
Yeah.
I knew we'd go off on a tangent. Let me put my shoes back on. Thank you guys so much for watching this interview with Melanie. I truly learned so much, and I hope you did too. I have more interviews to come in the future. And please, if you have any questions that I just completely missed or have still for Melanie, please drop them in the comments below, and maybe we'll do a follow-up interview. Bye, guys.